On a rare drizzly day in Southern California, it's round one, season 3 of the Major League Rugby competition, where the defending league champion Seattle take on the host for today, the San Diego Legion. Welcome, rugby fans, to Torero Stadium for what promises to be an epic rematch of the championship final of 2019 between defending champion Seattle and the San Diego Legion. I'm Mark Stabina, joined by USA Rugby legend Brian Hightower. Now, Brian, number 1 plays number 2 from last season. Could we ask for a better opener to the new season?
Absolutely not. And, you know, this might be week 1, but this could be a preview for the final again this year. And it's no fluke that either team got to that final. They both have such great team culture. According to Rob Hoadley, they've created this culture of improvement. And, you know, I expect them to be in the hunt again. Great signings in the offseason and some tweaks to the team. And as far as Seattle goes, Shalom Suniula, the vice captain for me, summed it up. He said, look, you don't win the MLR on week 1. They're both gunning for a win today, though.
And speaking of big signings, arguably the biggest signing in Major League Rugby history is that of New Zealand All Blacks legend Ma'anonu. Brian, what can we say about this man?
Well, look, you don't keep playing rugby at the age of 37 unless you're the consummate professional. He is going to lead by example and show the young players on San Diego's team what it's like to really rise to the occasion. And, you know, just expect him to be competing constantly for a job and showing the guys wearing red what it's like to be a pro.
And our trusty sideline eyes, Stacey Pates, caught up with the big man earlier on today.
It's an understatement to call Ma'anonu a high acquisition for the San Diego Legion. He's such an incredible player, 103 caps, couple World Cups, you know, no big deal. But Ma, I want you to tell us a little bit about what you've experienced so far. You played for the All Blacks, you've had such great success. What are you learning so far about the MLR and your new family here in San Diego?
Yeah, it's great to be here. I'm looking forward to the first game today. What I've learned over the last month, just the camaraderie of the boys, just the support of San Diego and just how the Legion family operates. So they've had some success in the last couple of years, but haven't managed to go all the way. So.
Well, stick around, folks, because we are moments away from kickoff. It's round 1, season 3 of the Major League Rugby competition of 2020.
Check one, Brian.
Check one.
Open.
Mark, looking good.
Brian open.
Welcome back to Torero Stadium, and here come the men in red. They are seeking revenge after heartbreak last year in the final on this very turf against this very team. It's the Seattle Seawolves, the defending champions, taking on the Legion. And Ma Nonu, the new big signing there in the number 12. Excited to see him. Conditions not too bad today. There's been a little bit of drizzle. Let's hope it holds off. But let's have a look at the lineup now for San Diego. Tight head prop. Paul Mullen has big boots to fill with the departure of Paddy Ryan. Keep an eye on number 7, Sam Wuching, who narrowly missed out on World Cup selection. And Luke Burton, the Aussie, is handed Joe Peterson's number 10 jersey, while Nonu and Duplessis make a formidable centre pairing.
And over on the Seattle side, number 3 for me is the key, and he was the key to get them into the final and win the final last year. Tim Metcher, he's got to have a great day today at tight head prop. And then Brad Tucker, number 4. He's a flanker, really wearing a Locks jersey, gets around the field as well as anybody in the back row. In the backs, JP Smith at number 9 is the key man to watch. And then Shalom Suniula at 12. Well, he's going to look across from today, Mark, and he's going to see Ma'anonu. What a great day to wear the 12 jersey for Seattle. He'll never forget it.
Our man in the middle, also a man in blue, taking care of proceedings today. See Scotty Dean there, poised, ready to kick off. Ma Nonu. And it's kickoff here, grand final replay here in 2020 with Teo taking that ball cleanly. We've had a little bit of rain today. It's held off for the kickoff. And despite the drizzly conditions, the crowd have turned up. They want redemption.
Use it!
Opting not to kick Seattle straight away. Just a little hit up. Infield and then back down the short side.
Hold.
That was Dean Muir. And now Augsburger sends it high. Not particularly long. Harting pulls it in eventually after a juggle. The Seawolves through Dean. Chip over, cleverly done toward the sideline. Precision kick from Scott Dean.
Brilliant start from the homegrown product there, Scott Dean. What I like from San Diego is that they're going to play the exit game under their terms. They're not going to take the pressure from Seattle. They went through a few phases before the kick. Hatting had a little bit of trouble with the handle, and then Dean lays down a perfect kick to put San Diego back inside their own 22.
Line out, won by Seattle, and they're on the charge already. Tolutau up over the 22 of San Diego, now down the short side. Shepherd it is, makes a yard or two. Back in now to Penny. Finished the season strong last year. Quick ball out now, Dean, lovely spiral. Out the back door, Suniula gets it away quickly as well. It's Ross Neal. 24-year-old from Blackwell, Heath.
Carried on after the ball's gone.
A little bit of extras after the ball was gone, and just some ill discipline, maybe players trying to put their stamp of authority on this game, but it was under the watchful eye of the ref. And so this might cost San Diego a 3-pointer right at the beginning of the game, and you can't afford to make mistakes like that. It's over-aggression.
So our referee, Jamie Nutbrown, quick to call the first penalty of the match. And it'll be Seattle looking to draw first blood here at Torero Stadium. Grandstands are filling up with local pride. Brock Staller, radar with the boot. Shouldn't be too much problem for him, but as we mentioned, ground's a little slippery from some earlier rain. Looks like it may have been waved away. It has. So the score remains at 0-0 after 3 minutes here at Torero Stadium. As we mentioned before, final rematch from 2019.
Lucky break there for the Legion. Now the 22-meter drop kick and a deep kick.
It's very deep, and Scott Dean underneath it. Takes it easily, sends it to his left. Over the top was Furno. Ordered to stand back. Lucky not to give away a penalty, but Seattle now just settling things down, looking for the box kick.
Use it.
JP Smith gets into position, throws the leg out. That left boot sends it up. Ross Neal gives chase and makes the tackle on Teo. As the men in green come piling over, and they've earned themselves a penalty.
Sealing off. 10 here. Number 10, sealing
Credit
off.
to the
off feet.
Seawolves there, because they arrived in numbers on the kick chase. It was a great kick by JP Smith. Perfect box kick. High enough to allow everybody to arrive on site, put the pressure on Mike Teo. And as a result, they're going to tee up another one. And the boot of Brock Stoller is legendary as far as it's a cannon. It's a howitzer attached to an ankle. But I tell you what, he's off on the first one. Don't expect him to miss again. Watch again the kick chase there. It starts with Ross Neal. He's there on site. And look at Brad Tucker. Talked about him before the game. He's going to be rangy and all over the field. And sure enough, there he is in support. They get the call.
Let's see if Stoller has made the necessary adjustments to his earlier miss. Kicking from the preferred side of the field as a right footer, and he strikes it nicely, and it's straight through the uprights. 3 points to Seattle now, plays 0 to San Diego. Just over 5 minutes gone here at Torero Stadium.
And the key for me, the composure of Seattle, is that all 5 of those minutes, Mark, have been played inside the San Diego half. They got to get some ball, and they got to play inside Seattle's half now.
So San Diego to restart. It's early days here. You can see both teams are clearly up for it. And spliced off the side of the boot there. Still made a little bit of ground, but that opens the door for San Diego.
And it's a great option on the restart kick. Instead of trying to compete for the ball at the 10-meter stripe, just kick it deep. They know that the ball's going to go into touch, and this time only 22 meters now separates San Diego from their opponent's try line.
Muir gets it in nicely. Furno brings it down. Nonu, first touch of the game. Straight to Wu Ching. Heavily met on the 22-meter line.
Lost!
Retaining the ball nicely. Other Legion, Burton gets a touch. Attacks the line. Well met by Mike Shepard. Flirting with the offside line are the Seawolves, that green wall that we know all too well. Back to Nonu, puts it on the right boot. Straight into the waiting arms.
Back, Red, back! Back 7!
Busby.
7, back, 10. Back.
Takes a free catch, or a mark as it's known in rugby, and maybe for our new rugby fans you can explain what happened there, Brian.
Yeah, basically you get a free kick. If you catch the ball, you put that arm up, it signals to the referee that you want the free kick instead of to continue playing with continuity. And it's basically a way to save yourself from taking a shot from an oncoming defender. Great return by
All right, guys, just keep that
Busby
gap,
on the corner there.
Good. Hold green.
Great kick by Busby too, following the free kick. That ball is battered down. Struggling a little with their line out at the moment are the Legion. Is it because of the pressure of Seattle?
Well, I think it's the size also of FP Peltzer, wearing the number 5 jersey, 6'7" and difficult to get over in that lineout.
Successful in this attempt. San Diego as Augsburger puts it up, nearly gets to it. Todovosau. And here come the Seawolves again. Nice right foot step back into the support of his forwards. That was Ross Neal. He's been busy already in this match.
Advantage over.
It's another high kick and almost into the stands. So a good clearance by Seattle.
You see San Diego going into their toolkit a little bit, and then they're mixing it up, and that time a box kick to Save Todovosau goes off the hand, unfortunately, but trying to mix it up a little bit.
Over.
Ball goes to the back. That worked a little bit up. Inside ball from Nonu. Underplaying his game at the moment. Ball goes same way.
Don't push it into him. Reed.
Cycling
Backwards, play on.
with ferocious speed. The Legion. That one goes up. Turner couldn't bring it in, and Augsburger gets off the left foot again, makes his way in field. Paul Mullen was brought down. Great support from the big man, and unfortunately,
Knock on, Reed.
they've knocked it on.
Scrum green.
Exciting stuff here at Torero Stadium, Brian.
Well, we've seen a couple bobbles with the high ball so far, and Dylan Audsley, he chases that kick so well, manages to get it back into the hands of Augsburger. Take a look once again. Audsley with the headgear and the little tap back to Nate Augsburger. He is an Energizer bunny. He will not stop Nate Augsburger all over the field and tries to create an opportunity there for Paul Mullen. An unfortunate knock-on as San Diego finally gets a foothold into Seattle territory.
Well, I originally thought it was Mullen on the ground that might have knocked that on, but he got it out. It just spat out to Furno, who has some trouble picking that one up. Probably wasn't expecting it. Nonetheless, putting the pressure on now, the Legion.
Bring up.
Both teams using that high ball to their advantage, as you mentioned, Brian.
Intriguing matchups in the front row, and Fakaosi Pifoletti at loosehead wearing the #1 jersey right now, getting all he can handle from Tim Metcher, but I love the way that they've grown this front row at San Diego, and from the bench players to some of these starters, including Fakaosi Pifoletti, who's really rounded his game in the last couple of years under the tutelage of Rob Hoadley.
Still only a young man, Pifoletti, the man you mentioned there, Brian, 22 years of age, originally from Tonga.
Or else it'll be straight against you guys, okay? Both of you guys playing
Had a
silly
stint
buttons,
at the Saracens Academy.
Gaps. Otherwise, I'll start escalating, guys, okay? That's good. You start there as well.
Here we are, Shippy. Second head.
Big scrum now.
Crunch! Bind!
Seattle under pressure.
Sit!
See Mikey Teo way back behind the halfway line, trying to figure out which way the ball's going to be kicked, if it is.
Well, scrum penalty in favor of the Seawolves. Just letting them off the hook there were the Legion. And aren't they happy about it, Brian?
Yeah, indeed. And again, the work of Tim Metcher cannot be discounted. For Sears Duru, you can already tell Paul Mullen getting twisted sideways there by Justice Sears Duru. And Mullen's supposed to be one of the guys they picked up in the offseason to help out this front row, and he absolutely got it handed to him.
Angle.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, that departure of Paddy Ryan is a big blow. And this man on screen will agree with you.
Scott Murray. Yeah, he's been a good one. A great pickup in the coach. He was a British and Irish Lion, so bringing a lot of experience.
Seattle now with a line-out win. Putting it through the hands, straight through is Nakai Penny with the pace to beat. Brought down finally, 15 meters out. It's quick recycling, and what an easy run in for the captain. Rickett Hadding gallops over for the first try of the match.
Two incisive lines by Seattle. The first one comes from Nakai Penny on the set move. What a blistering flat ball he gets to just open up the defense. And watch once again from the line out. Watch number 7. Here he comes around the corner. Boom. And then watch Hadding wearing the number 8 jersey. He's not on scene yet, and that's because he hasn't arrived. Look at that line, and it's JP Smith who gets him that ball. Great identification by the experienced scrum half, and what a line by Riekert Hadding. Had put his hand up to be in the World Cup squad for Gary Gold, to play for the U.S. Eagles. Got injured in the final last year, had bursitis and an infection in his knee. Couldn't make that World Cup squad, was gutted as a result. He had just qualified to play for the U.S. team. I just asked him, do you plan on sticking around one more cycle? And he said, yeah, I think so. But look at the work from Nakai Penny. And no panic here. And watch everybody on scene. Brock Stoller's there first. And then the line here just splits open the Legion defense. Great stuff.
Let's hear from Stacey Pates down there on the sideline. Stacey?
Guys, for the 3rd consecutive season, these Seattle Seawolves have had a shortened camp. The meaning behind that and the thought behind that is from the ownership group, and they said, you know, they don't want the guys to have to travel to Seattle, then back to their home countries, and then back again, so they take the entire holiday to spend with their family. And it really serves the guys well, especially mentally, to get them ready. And I talked to a couple special guys from Seattle's team, and they told me they were really excited about the season starting, to the point where a week ago, a couple of the players had to be told to calm down just a little bit, give it another week, save it, give it some time. And clearly things are going in Seattle's way right now here in San Diego.
So a mistake there by JP Smith. By the way, thank you, Stacey. The mistake by JP Smith, and he brought the ball back, and then he put it back on the ground. And so scrum is the result. And mistake by Smith there. Well, just as he opens up San Diego's defense, he in turn gives them a chance inside their own 22.
Brian, just if I may, go back to that try and a moment before that as well, both breaks. It was interesting to see Ma'anonu very close to those breaks, whether it was his fault or not, but there seemed to be just a lack of communication between Ma'anonu and his inside man, and they really penetrated. He slipped on the first occasion to let Penny through, and then again it was on his inside shoulder, so let's keep an eye on that combination in defense. They'll have to tighten that up, but now they're in offense through Augsburger. 10 meters out, causing some trouble there is Tolutau. Too much trouble, in fact, illegally done.
Yeah, he doesn't roll away from the tackle. He's on the ground off of his feet, and he continues playing at the ruck there. So this will be a great chance for San Diego to calmly get some points back. But they got to stick this line out. They've had trouble going up over the big number 5 Peltzer.
Now with the line out, the Legion.
Just hold green, hold.
It's well brought down by Wu Ching. Seattle pile in to stop the drive. Seattle just holding on as now the Legion get a charge on. They look good, they look very good, and they have scored. The Legion, 5 points. They still trail by 5 with a kick to come.
And Dean Ware is the man, and that's just a great rolling maul from the top. You could see the plan. Look at Muir. Focus on 2. He throws the ball. Now he's going to come around to the back, and now the ball's in his hands once again. Now the drive begins. Just the gears grinding forward for San Diego, and no doubt about it. An important score for the Legion, Mark, in my opinion, as they were starting to let the Seattle score kind of tick forward out of reach.
Yes, indeed, Brian. Very important for the Legion, for their confidence, for their fans. They've been in it, just Seattle looking to grow in stature. So now let's see if Luke Burton, 25-year-old from Perth, Australia,
25 games with the former Western Force. Played over 30 games for Biarritz as well in France. Pro D2. Interesting style. Burton keeps it out to the right, and it doesn't make its way back in, so their score remains at 5. And we have a hydration break coming up now. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be back with this epic clash in just over 60 seconds. And coming up next, we share the story of a Cinderella team you had no idea about and their historic run. CBS Sports Network celebrates Black History Month with Jacksonville U Can Do, only on CBS Sports Network. And Stacey Pates has another very important rugby figure for the Legion. Stacey is talking with Joe Peterson.
Mark, thank you so much. This is an outfit that the fans don't necessarily want to see him in. I can tell he's got dope shoes on, but they'd love to see you in uniform. Why aren't you able to go today? Tell us a little about that.
I'd love to say that it's age, but it's not. No, I've just have a small niggle, so just this week and back on the field next week.
That's good to hear. Tell me about what changes you've seen with this team. Obviously, picking up Nanu was a huge acquisition. What are some other positive things that you're seeing?
Yeah, I think picking up Ma has been a phenomenal attribution to the team, but then also being able to have a bit of continuity going into the next season, with guys knowing the systems, knowing what's going, being much more, much further along, where we were in comparison to last season. So I think we'll hit the ground running. It'll be much. There we go. Sorry, lost that. We hit the ground running, and then we'll be much quicker to gel as a team and get things going.
How much have you seen growth in the younger guys? When you're surrounded by professionals like yourself, and now with Nanu adding into the bunch, how have you seen the younger guys really grow mentally as well?
Yeah, I think the younger guys are the ones that fuels us and pushes us forward and gives us that energy. So the more they push the older guys, the better. And to see them setting the standard and taking the lead is also quite a refreshing thing.
Break down what you're seeing so far with these two teams out on the field right now. Round one, what's it look like for you?
I think the major thing today would be momentum, whether on attack and defense. It's a bit of a wet game. It's not raining at the moment, which is good, but I think if whoever plays the best kicking game will have a bit of an upper hand, might frustrate the other team. So I think momentum and kicking game will be the big factor today.
Is this one of those rivalries that is something that will stand in the MLR, do you think?
Yeah, I think this is going to be the rivalry that builds throughout the years, and it's already shown in the first 2-3 years.
Joe, always a pleasure to talk to you. I look forward to seeing you on the field next week.
Thanks, Stace. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe and Stacey. Exciting stuff now as the Legion have had the ball ripped out of the Seattle hands. It was Augsburger after a clever kick, and now they're on the charge, 10 metres out. Furno comes in, pointing, acting scrum half. Ball comes back. Seattle counter-ruck.
Good, hold there.
They've upset the apple cart somewhat, but still with the ball. The Legion through. Tamalau looking for quick recycling. Augsburger comes in, asks his troops for some help. Wu Ching picks, drives toward the midfield. Faramalua comes in to help. Burton dummies, shapes up. It's Tucker, tries to rip the ball out of his hands. Burton does well. Up now, 5 metres from the line. The Legion, a charging Tamalau has a crack. 2 meters now, inching toward the line. Nonu feeds Mahoney. Some numbers out to the right. Nonu again steps back in, puts his head down, takes 2 men to bring him short of the try line. Wuching again, heads in, settling down. Muir, Augsburger calling his troops. Burton with a wide pass, nearly intercepted, but it's going to be 5 points to Duplessis. Wow. It could have been a try to Seattle or a try to San Diego with the attempted intercept from Neal, but it was the Legion that get the points.
Well, here's where it all starts. Look at the work of Save Todovasau, and then Augsburger just completely strips the ball from J.P. Smith, his opposite number 9. That's where it begins for the Legion. And then a perfect pass here. Once again, it could have been Ross Neal going the other way. Instead, it's Duplessis across the line for the San Diego Legion. What a turn of events here, but it all starts with that kick chase from the corner.
Was, and as you mentioned, Smith did well originally, but just too much pressure coming in, and Augsburger doing exceptionally well to force the turnover. But that intercept play, high risk, low reward from the Seawolves. They've opened the door for the Legion, and the Legion have walked right in. It's 10 points apiece now, and this to take the lead from Luke Burton.
Great to see such open running rugby, Mark, on day one for both of these teams in the new season. Sometimes you see mistake-laden games when teams are just trying to feel out each other and their own teams, but there's some exciting rugby today.
Oh, that's right. They're going for it. They're absolutely on the front foot, both teams. Just moments earlier, Stacey Pates was talking with Joe Peterson. She asked him what the difference is going to be, and he did mention the kicking game, and that kick before putting the pressure in Seattle got them down to this part of the field. Burton acts the extras, so it's 12 points to 10 in favor of the Legion.
Look at the big cutout pass by Burton. You can see Duplessis looks up and he goes, wait, where's the defenders?
Couldn't believe his luck. Thank you, Ross Neal. As now kickoffs is sent high and long. Seattle forcing this Legion outfit to crawl their way out of the danger zone. That's what they're doing. Mahoney, strong. Another penalty, needs to be careful.
It's Toletau.
Yeah,
he's got a couple of penalties against him so far, and he needs to be careful discipline-wise.
On the ball, you're fine, but taking out the 9.
Taking out the scrum half basically is the call there.
Taking out the 9.
From Toletau. Interesting, during that water break earlier, seeing Andrew Duratalo, the Olympian who was at Ealing in the UK. Saw him a couple weeks ago in Fiji, where his family's from, and he said, I'll be in the MLR somewhere, and it turns out it's going to be Seattle. And then Joe Peterson on the sideline. Both of these teams still have players to bring on that can augment already good sides. One of the reasons why we're seeing such good rugby is the core of these teams, Mark, has remained from last year's final, and they've just improved it with a few players here and there.
That's right, Brian, so important to keep that nucleus, and may have been tackled in the air. No, it was a mark, so that was fair play.
Great timing by Audsley. Unfortunately, the mark called, but waits until the toes of Stoller are back on the grass. Watch again, here's the hit. Just, was it on the ground? Well, close enough. Real time.
Just hold, what numbers? Full. I'll give you time to match, all right?
Audsley's bounced around the back line of San Diego. Played every position apart from scrum half, which shows the versatility of that young man as the ball is put in behind Turner. He waits patiently and brilliant pace. That's what he does. The sevens extraordinaire, carving his way through the middle, and a penalty. Looks like a high tackle.
Yeah, you know, and just about to mention a couple of players on both teams that you haven't heard from a lot. One of them is Matt Turner, and he finally wakes up and gets a chance with ball in hand. The other player for me is CeCe Mahoney, wearing the number 4 jersey for the San Diego Legion team. He's 300 pounds, 6'8". They need to get the ball in his hands a little bit more for some go forward. Let him truck some opponents.
Kick may not have gone out. No, it hasn't. And
Stop, Red. 4.
Sends it long. Oh, what about the acrobatics from Tolutau? To no avail, but pleasing for the crowd.
Listen, the acrobatics there, awesome.
I love it.
That's lovely stuff.
He loves it too. The problem was he got it infield.
No. He actually, the ball was already out. He caught it in the air and carried it out, so therefore the ball technically was out. Now Seattle with the throw.
Numbers, guys, numbers.
If you're unaware of this law, it's that the team that throws the ball in sets the number of players in the line out. You can go all the way down to 3, but the other team has to match those numbers in the line out, and that time San Diego just didn't look up, wasn't aware, fell asleep a little bit, and that's the forward's fault right there.
Time off.
Jamie Nutt-Brown is calling time off.
Time's off. You've got to get the numbers set, okay?
Can't come here now, can they?
No. So get numbers set. Yeah.
Just mentioning the exact thing you mentioned before, Brian, about the numbers. Just to Josh Furno on that occasion.
Time on.
Be a line-out throw for the Legion.
2, 3.
Just inside the 40-metre zone of the Seawolves. Well taken by Augsburger. Sending it out to Duplessis. Steps off the right. But Neil has his number as Pufoletti fights his way through a couple of would-be defenders. Great tackle from Busby coming in off his wing. Needed to do that. And now Shepherd chopping down Tamalau. The Legion getting numbers out to that far side. Burton firing it out to Mikey Teo, but maybe it was Wu-Ching coming through. Got in his way a little bit there. A little bit of miscommunication and confusion from the Legion.
Scrum code.
Referee's asking for the option for Seattle. If you knock the ball into touch across that sideline, you've basically committed 2 different conundrums. One, you've knocked it on. 2, it's in touch. So the other team gets to choose if they want a scrum or a line out. Seattle goes to the scrum.
Just have a word for your front row. Just keep them in their own space. Got it. Playing silly buggers. Got you. Well, their last 2 scrums have been good, so. Huh? That one was offside where we called it while you guys scored. They're just rushing up the line out. So you know what I mean? The boys are on it.
Such great sound.
It is, isn't it?
Rev Mike.
Jamie Nutt-Brown with some New Zealand colloquialisms for us.
Just having a little laugh at the expense of front rowers. Funny buggers is what he called them. I'd agree.
Yeah, I'll go have a word to them too, guys.
You know, we saw Paul Mullen struggle
Time on, guys.
in the scrum against Seattle earlier in the half. We'll see if he can get it right. The number 3 for
space, okay?
the San Diego Legion.
They're on space, so you guys are the same head space, okay?
Let's go, boys. Big scrum. My call. Listen to me, our boys.
12 points to 10 in favour of the Legion.
Inside.
We're anticipating a closely fought affair. And these 2 teams are not disappointing. 28 minutes gone in this match, nearly 29. Seattle win the feed. Suniola charging forward. Great tackle from Burton. Comes back the other way.
Release.
Just working their way out through Peltzer. Dummy from Shepherd.
Release line.
Takes it forward. Not a lot of advancement here from the Seawolves. They may opt for the kick. Looks like it might be a box kick. Shaping up is JP Smith. Steps back, sends it up. Shallow and high. Tapped down by Audsley, straight into the arms of Tulutau. Here they come, the Seawolves out the back door through Dean to Neil. Neil finds Turner. Turner shapes up, flat pass to Busby, but he cannot beat the two-man tackle of Torovasau and Duplessis.
Guys, they need to come in, guys.
A little bit of attitude there, and you know, it comes with the territory. When you're the two-time defending champion,
We're here, guys.
you maybe get to puff your chest out just a little bit, and that's what Turner does on the touchline there after Ma'anonu comes in to try to get the ball quickly for the Legion. Love the number 14, Save Torovasau. Last year, a couple injuries, and he was in and out. This year, he seems healthy, and he's really had a great impact. Hasn't had a whole lot of ball in hand. We saw him on the kick chase, and there in defense, he was able to let the man go on the corner because he trusted his speed to take him out, and that's exactly what he did.
They're getting their hands on the San Diego Legion. Line out again. Seattle made a nuisance of themselves at line-out time. We've lost some meters as JP Smith from the base sends it.
Well, you talk about an introduction. Shalom Suniola playing against Ma'anonu his first time, and they just got introduced on the field. Great tackle by the legend.
Now, see how strong he is in defense now. Haven't seen much of him from attack. I wonder if that's a tactic of San Diego, knowing that he'd be a heavily marked player, to underplay and utilize, work as a decoy. Utilizing the players around him, Brian. Or maybe it's just in the name of self-preservation for the season.
My guess is that he's definitely not as fast as he was in his World Cup winning form. And he's out there because of his experience and his vision for the game. And sometimes, Mark, when you're that experienced, you actually can read the game before it happens, and then that makes up for a lack in your speed.
Take him back, guys. Take him back.
Ball taken, kicked straight into touch there. A bad kick from Seattle, and results in some positive territory for the Legion.
That's right, once again for the new viewers. Normally, if a ball is kicked from inside the 22-meter zone and it goes out, the line out will be from where it crossed the line, but on that occasion the ball was taken back over the 22 from outside. So you need to keep that ball in play, and you cannot kick it out in the full, otherwise it will be brought back as it has been done on this occasion. The Legion now looking strong. Same way, Burton will miss pass play out the back to Nonu, and then to Teo. And finally Audsley over on the far side. Augsburger cleans up, takes his medicine. Strong play, well done by the captain. Burton now at acting scrum half. Truck and trailer play by the Legion just to settle things down. They're going to take their time and reset. Nonu comes back to the far side. First receiver, nice little kick. Oh, but that in-goal area is just too small. And Turner sweeps across to save the day.
You're right, it's a narrow in-goal area. A couple more meters, maybe that sets up nicely, although Turner's there in defense. 22-meter dropout to come, and a squandered opportunity for me. Maybe you go through a phase there, maybe Nonu trying to get a little bit too tricky.
Make sure they're behind 10.
Scotty Dean to restart from the 22. Brilliant kick from him, and it's tapped down, but by a Seattle player. I thought it might have been a Legion player. That could have been danger zone for San Diego there, Brian.
Well, it's the dream of anyone wearing those low numbers. to get the benefit there. And I don't know, that might have been knocked back by San Diego. Justice Sears-Duru, maybe a little hard done there. But that decision by the man in blue is final, and so scrum to the San Diego Legion.
Justice Sears-Duru couldn't believe it. In an open line. 25 years of age, 52 caps for Canada. Sears-Duru wearing the number 1 for Seattle.
Look at what San Diego has cooked up here. Really steep in the back line.
You see the wide play there, Brian, how they're setting up. So they were steep. You also see Dylan Audsley coming in from his blind wing position.
Yeah, and sometimes when you bring that blindside wing over, it's to freeze the midfield defense. Just have them check that blindside runner first, and sometimes that creates space on the corner.
Keep it up, boys. Crouch!
So the Legion, 12, Nonu on your screen. How will they use him on this occasion? Well, it's a penalty, so no doubt they will start with a kick to touch. Well, Burton's coming in. Yes, he's going to clear it. Get them a little bit closer to the try line. Let's see how close. It's a good kick, but still some real estate to cover.
I'd like to see players making their fixes in the middle of the game. We saw Dean Weir struggle with the first couple of throws. So far, San Diego has been good after those first errant throws by Weir.
The Legion tightening up now on their line out, working out the kinks. Josh Furno bringing it down, initiating the drive. This is what started their first try of the match. Augsburger pulls it out. Burton out the back, juggles a little bit, throws a wild pass. Turner in hot pursuit decides to go for the man instead of the ball, and it's an intercept. What do we got here? Audsley comes across for the cover.
Audsley, that's great work. He came all the way over from his left wing, the blind side, gets involved in the move, and then becomes the safety valve in defense. When Ross Neal has the ball, if Audsley's not there from his far corner mark, that is a try for Seattle. Great, look at the man in the headgear. You can see the heavily wrapped knee there by Audsley. Now watch him. That's an extra 60 meters of running from Audsley, and it's a great piece of work by the blindside wing.
Well, it's such great value having a centre or a fullback that Audsley has played normally to be on the wing, because he'll play like an extra centre. Let's just listen to what the rest says.
Okay, we're going from there. Okay?
It's only if he runs in again.
So back 10.
So a warning there from Jamie Nutbrown, the referee, to the Seattle captain, Rickett Hatting. See some niggle creeping in now, as you said before. Plenty of attitude from both of these teams. San Diego seeking redemption for their heartbreaking loss in the final last year.
And we mentioned it before when we saw Seattle puffing up their chest a little bit and just having a little bit of extra words here and there, maybe a push, that's fine, but you don't want that to escalate and cost your team. The referee never sees it all, but he usually sees somebody doing something wrong.
Another line-out win, crucial for the Legion. This is about the spot where they scored their first try, and they're going to have another attempt at 5 points from the line-out, and they'll get it. They will get it. Dean Muir emerges triumphant for the Legion, and they extend their lead here at Torero Stadium.
It's so difficult to defend the rolling maul, because basically you have to put your shoulders in and drive with everything you've got. But that means your head is sometimes down. And you can see Seattle caught on the outside, and Ware finds the soft spot on the inside. There's nobody wearing a green shirt in front of him, and that's why he goes over for the try. That's why the rolling maul, when you've got a good one, is almost impossible to defend. And turnabout is fair play, Mark, because that's how Seattle beat San Diego last year in the final.
Forwards coach Scott Murray, the technician, the brains behind this driving maul. He'll be extremely proud of his troops so far as we approach halftime. Can Luke Burton place a 9-point buffer between his team and the defending champions? Burton strikes it, looks good from here. The crowd like it too, and what a beautiful kick. 19 points to 10, the home team over the visitors here.
I don't know if it's from the shock from last year when this crowd was on its feet and a deafening roar minutes before the final, and then suddenly it was like someone had turned the volume all the way down at the end. They were astonished and shocked that Seattle had come back. And I think it's time for the Legion fans to start getting behind the boys a little bit.
Burton with a hurried kick out. He just wanted to get rid of it because that whistle indicates halftime here at Torero Stadium. 19 points to 10. The hosts lead over the Seawolves.
Well, still lots to play for, and like I was just saying, you can't be overconfident, but I like the way the Legion has dealt with the bumps in the road from the beginning of the first half and have come back. And I asked them to play more rugby inside the Seattle half, and they have. And Seattle now has to figure out a way to get a little bit more possession inside San Diego territory. It's back and forth contest. It's kind of what we expected.
Certainly was. Two great teams. Two best in the league last year, indeed. And don't go too far, folks, because we're going to take a break and be back shortly with second half action here at Torero Stadium.
A nice buffer on the scoring end to go into halftime. What are you seeing that is making you proud of the guys right now?
Yeah, I think obviously a slow start, and then our halfbacks took control. Obviously a lot of possession and territory for us, and the forwards are doing a great job, which is obviously important in these kind of conditions.
It's getting chippy out there. We knew it would be because this is a rivalry that's forming in the MLR very strongly. How do you not temper their enthusiasm, but how do you keep them from that turning into a penalty situation?
Yeah, we're not too bothered by that. We just want to stick to what we're trying to do out there, which, as you've seen after the first 10 minutes, we were implementing our game plan that's working for us, so we're not interested in anything else.
Perfect. Thanks, Coach.
Cheers, Stacey.
Welcome back to Torero Stadium in San Diego. 19 points to 10. The hosts lead the visitors. And it's great scenes here. The rain has held off for a fantastic game. Plenty of action out there on the green grass of Torero Stadium. And let's hear from Stacey Pates, who has San Diego coach Rob Hoadley.
A nice buffer on the scoring end to go into halftime. What are you seeing that is making you proud of the guys right now?
Yeah, I think obviously a slow start, and then our halfbacks took control. Obviously a lot of possession and territory for us, and the forwards are doing a great job, which is obviously important in these kind of conditions.
It's getting chippy out there. We knew it would be because this is a rivalry that's forming in the MLR very strongly. How do you not temper their enthusiasm, but how do you keep them from that turning into a penalty situation?
Yeah, we're not too bothered by that. We just want to stick to what we're trying to do out there, which, as you've seen after the first 10 minutes, we were implementing our game plan that's working for us, so we're not interested in anything else.
Perfect. Thanks, Coach.
Cheers, Stacey.
Thank you, Stacey and Rob. Still half-time here at Torero Stadium. And we talked earlier, Brian, about the new signings of the MLR this year. Nonu being the big one.
Indeed, but also the beast. You talk about 100 caps for South Africa and just won a World Cup in November and somehow got enticed by the Old Glory in D.C. to come on over and be their poster child. So great to see him show up in the league. And then Rene Ranger, of course, an All-Black who's made his way to Colorado. And Matthew Bastereau, who played for France and now will be donning the colors of Rooney in New York.
Well, massive, massive signings indeed. International experience, plenty of caps between them. And we're going to take another break and be back shortly for the second half here in Torero Stadium. 19 points to 10, the Legion lead the defending champions, the Seattle Seawolves. Can you see? Do it where we can.
He didn't play yesterday.
Makes sense.
Hey, keep doing that. Keep doing it. We're on commercial, so just keep doing it. We're on commercial right now, so just keep
Welcome back, viewers, to Torero Stadium here in San Diego. And as you can see, the hosts lead the Seattle Seawolves 19 points to 10. It's a rematch of last year's final. Let's see, the fans have come from Seattle. And we have some other scores happening around the grounds this weekend. But before we do, let's have a look at what's happening.
Well, you look at those expansion teams. One of the producers asked me to make some predictions about the Eastern Division, and there's 3 teams out of 6 that are brand new. So much rugby left to play, and you just wonder how these teams are going to show up on the big stage, and not just in the early games of the season, but how that's going to play out down the road, and who's going to be competitive. Really compelling stuff, as I think we're seeing the best teams in the West in front of us today, and add perhaps Colorado into the mix, maybe Utah. But yeah, we'll see. So much rugby left to be played, and as we've seen in the past, so many wrinkles, especially in those last couple of weeks. Last year in particular, when New Orleans couldn't make their way into the playoffs in the finals after absolutely decimating everyone in front of them for the first 10 weeks. Then they just fell completely off the map.
Looks like the same might be happening here. Brian Nolagold, 46 points. They know how to score over Old Glory, and we have New England beating Rooney. That's a big, big game.
Yeah, big surprise for me. And then look at Atlanta, and of course they're coached by Scott Lawrence, who has spent a lot of time with the U.S. Eagles, set up a great coach in Atlanta. But I'm surprised that they took care of Utah the way they did. And to me, a great surprise for Houston. They've worked so hard, have been so disappointed, the SaberCats have, to come away with an opening day win against Colorado, who I thought before the season started would have been one of those top 3. Good for the SaberCats. I think the direction they're going has paid off, and the fans hopefully have been patient. A great venue, by the way.
Well, don't go too far. It's still halftime here at Torero Stadium. As we come back from the break, we'll show you some highlights from that first half. Yeah, good job. I just like threw it at you.
Yeah, no worries.
It's because you do it so well, Brian. I can just be like,
well, it's just kind of make like
just give you a hospital.
Welcome back. Glad to have you with us on CBS Sportsnet. I'm Stacey Pates alongside the head coach of the visiting Seattle Seawolves. It's 19-10 right now, the home team on top. But Kies Lensing, when you take a look at what your team's been doing, are they meeting your expectations based on the game plan heading into this one?
Oh, no, definitely. I think we started off with a bang. The guys really executed in the first 10, 15 minutes. We played good. And then we kind of like a little bit of mistakes. We didn't kick out, or direct kick out from a kickoff, and then one mistake lead to the next one. But I think we know exactly what we need to do and where we need to fix and where we need to tighten up for the second half.
What are those things you need to tighten up?
no, our exit game, we need to get out of our own half and we need to play a little bit more down on their end. I think we probably had the ball maybe 10 minutes in the first half. The rest of the time we were defending, and it was all due to our own mistakes, penalties, and just unforced errors from our side.
Two great teams, a lot of incredible athletes. Thank you, Coach, for stopping. We look forward to a good second half.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the support.
And if you're playing What's the Accent game at home, it's Namibia. Keith Lensing, one of the best props to come out of Namibia, played in the 2003 World Cup. And this Seattle squad, Mark, has really been coached by committee for the last couple of years. It's a great culture of experienced players like that man that was on screen, Matt Turner. And I asked Keith Lensing before, how do you continue to allow these experienced players to have a voice and then also bring your authority to the game? And he said, I've got groups of leadership groups that I ask them basically to participate in everything that we do as a team. And Phil Mack, who is the former player coach, said to me, you know what, it's great for the guys to be able to have someone to hate like together, you know, like someone finally to pin the blame on, and Keith Lensing's going to be that man. And, you know, so far it's they've kept the culture there. You can tell the way the guys are relaxed. It's a players' team, really, this Seattle Seawolves side, and I think it'll remain so. If we take a look at the reserve, some impact subs. Rob Hoadley really high on this man, Peter Malcolm, who I imagine we'll see. Nathan Sylvia, the California product from Cal Poly, and the former Fresno State lineman, Aaron Mitchell, is going to come in to anchor the scrum at some point in the second half. And so reserve's really going to be the name of the game in the second half. And Kellen Gordon and Jake Ilnicki, the Canadian, they'll have some key moments as well. And as the chess game continues, the twins at the bottom there, Sidaveni and Suliasi, will come in at some point too. They are Washington products, the Tamaivena brothers. And we'll see if the former linebackers can make a difference for this Legion team. Sorry, Seattle team.
Well, Luke Burton, number 10 for San Diego, is making a difference in this match. It's the second half. We're underway here at Torero Stadium. And Seattle have some work to do to get back into the game. The Legion taking charge right before the break. Apart from that, it has been quite an even contest. Scotty Dean on your screen there, clearing the ball. Only 23 years of age.
5, guys.
Another versatile player. He's played most positions in the back line. And the try scorer, Muir. It's a better line out, really finding their strides at line out time here, the Legion. As Pifoletti charges up to the 22-meter line. Burton out to Nonu, beautiful pass out to Toto Vassal, and it'll be enough for him to go all the way, shrugging off defenders. But those left to right spiral passes from the 10 and then the 12 created it all, Brian.
We talked about maybe Ma'anonu having lost a step from his glory days. This is why he's on the field. You talk about pinpoint accuracy. Look at that mispass. Wanted to see Salve Totavasau with more ball in hand. Nobody can stop that man. A direct shot. Watch this pass once again. If you're watching at home and you're a rugby player, that is how you put it on a dime. And then JP Smith comes over to try to tackle the big Fijian, but it's not going to happen. Totavasau is in mid-season form right now. And the rest of the Western Division better take note.
24 points to 10. Putting some daylight between these two teams are the Legion. Mixing up their play wonderfully well here, the Legion. We've seen driving mauls. We've seen backline flair. Just what this huge crowd have come to see. threat of some rain. It's Burton now. Striking perfectly straight through the middle, dissecting the uprights. An extra 2 points courtesy of Luke Burton, so it's 26 points to 10 now. Exercising their revenge on last year's loss to Seattle in the final at this very stadium.
Well, Seattle's got to respond, now down 2 converted tries. And Bradley Tucker almost gives them the ball they wanted there, but can't find the handle. Good read on that kickoff. And,
Knock on green, scrum read.
you know, sometimes those moments are the ones that can turn a game. And if Tucker catches that ball, he's got a clean pair of heels and only Nate Augsburger in front of him.
Outside.
Yes, they need something, and they need it soon. Still plenty of rugby to play in the second half.
Crouch!
One could argue that the Legion have momentum. As Augsburger feeds, that's a solid scrum. Starts to wheel, but gets it out now. Burton to Nonu, another spiraling pass, puts it in front of Teo, and the try scorer gallops down and nearly beats Turner again. But Turner was not about to let that happen on this occasion.
Yeah, it looked like David Busby there on the corner working against Save Todavasau. And another pass just perfectly into the hands of Teo. Oh, that is Turner. Busby ends up finishing off Todavasau out wide, but what a threat.
How about that floating pass again from Nonu?
Just perfect. You know, and that's really the clinic that Nonu is putting on right now, is in the skill work. You know, it looked like he was having a bit of fun. And, you know, there's a lot of pressure on this man. He's almost 40 years old, and to show up into this league and to be asked to be as good as people remember him is a lot on his shoulders. Talk about pressure on your shoulders. JP Smith needs to come up with that ball, and he ends up knocking it on.
Aren't they capitulating here?
Still a lot of rugby left to play in this second half, but a couple bobbles. The Tucker knock on, now the Smith knock on. Good stable platform. Tavita Tamalau at the back for San Diego Legion has had a good game. A lot of great carries. Played for the USA. Also spent a couple years in Glasgow over in Scotland. Well, now going backwards, and Tavita Tamalau cleans that one up.
You see Augsburger flying onto that as well. Forward pass. Here's the call.
Well, you had mentioned the stability of the scrum back here, Mark, and you're right, it was pretty stable platform. This one's going backwards, and San Diego needs to be careful. They need to focus a little bit more. Expect maybe some subs to come in. We mentioned some of the subs right before the half. Aaron Mitchell is a big man, a big platform.
Mitchell, the man you mentioned as well, local hero. Grew up in Oceanside, which is just down the road from Torero Stadium here. Seattle will have another chance to attack from the scrum base. The Legion look to apply the pressure back. It's come out now as Suniula fires a brilliant pass out. Turner tries to get around the outside. Teo's got him high. Let's see if the ref says anything about that. Doesn't seem like he will, so it'll be a line-out throw to the Legion.
Love the response by Suniula. He says, hey, Ma'anonu's not the only one who's got a good left-handed pass here. Check this out. Boom, pinpoint, right to Stoller.
1, 2, and 4, read.
And Teo, what great defense. He's got Stoller. He checks off onto Turner and then puts him into touch. And Turner knows it's sometimes just inches, just a hair's width. That's the difference between a try and going into touch, and that time Teo plays it perfectly. Turner wants another shot.
Again, it's just that confidence in his own pace, Teo. Staying with Stoller just in case without committing, and then he needed to push, as you mentioned, Brian, and he did that and had plenty of pace to cover the pace of Turner. As this driving maul, which has been a feature of San Diego's play today. Looks like it's taken over the sideline, so a little misdirected.
Well, I tell you what, getting straight into the mix. Look at the number 19 on the back of Lou Stanfield, 56 caps for the USA. There's the big man now, and Lou just can't get enough. Thought he'd retired a couple years ago after the last World Cup, and he continues to travel from his hometown in Sacramento and loves it.
Shepard overthrows. Tucker comes in, can't control it. See the floodlights now lit here at Torero Stadium as the day begins to close. It's already overcast weather, just shedding a little more light on the situation here at Torero Stadium. Still some rugby to play. Only 8 minutes into this second half.
Another player to highlight for San Diego, wearing the number 6 jersey, is Joseph Varamalua. He's the only Olympic gold medalist on the field right now. Comes from a little beach town in Fiji. He's played all over the back line and has found a home on the side of the scrum and loves it there.
Augsburger, scrum collapses, and it's a penalty. He's told just to wait.
Front row subs in now for San Diego. We talked about Nate Sylvia from Cal Poly. He's wearing the 17 jersey. Also in is Peter Malcolm. Paul Mullen, the only player left from the original front row that started this match.
Let's see, it was Tim Metra on this occasion, penalised for going straight down there, Brian.
And that's a big win for Nathan Sylvia. He was under the tutelage of last year's, one of last year's players of the MLR, Patty Ryan, who's playing in Japan right now, but the legacy continues because Sylvia has become better and better.
See that sleight of hand from Burton on the wraparound. The ball didn't quite go where he needed it, but shifting it on nicely, and that has kept this San Diego team on the front foot. Quick ball now for Augsburger. Nonu picks it up around his bootlaces, fires it out to Audsley, who gets it off the ground. Clever play from the winger. Tamilau was there in support. Coming back midfield, Stanfield gets a free arm back to Dylan Audsley. The winger playing like a centre in support. Augsburger tries to flick it out the back. It's going to come back, no advantage. High tackle for a penalty there.
Well, this staunch defense that is renowned in Seattle is really having to scramble. So many options for this Legion team, and they're able to really spread the field and create confusion for this defense of Seattle. You see that seatbelt tackle over the arm and neck of Audsley by Justice Sears-Duru. And now starting to see some subs come on for Seattle as well. So Sears Duru takes a break, as does Tim Metcher, and substitutes in the front row. A good shift for the tight head and loose head props for Seattle, but now the fate of the Seawolves hangs on the shoulders of the new front row.
Dangerous territory now for Seattle, the visitors. Line out throw to their opponents on the 5-meter line. They've scored twice already from this far out with this very movement. But Seattle, they're up to the task, and they've scored a penalty in the process.
You talk about halftime fixes, and we watched the 2 tries by Dean Muir in the first half, and watch how quickly Seattle organizes their defense of this maul. That's the only way to do it, and they absolutely pounce when the ball comes down from the line out. Great job in defense of that rolling maul.
Towering kick as well there,
Yeah,
Brian.
beauty of a kick to boot. And that's the kind of momentum swing that Seattle needs right now. Pinned against their own line and now across the halfway line and into San Diego territory. They got to do something positive with this next possession.
They may very look to the big man that they call the beast, Eric Duchel. To the left of Scotty Dean, the number 10 for the Seawolves. Staller to the right, the beast to the left, Suniula tucked in behind. What are Seattle cooking up here? They need to win the ball first, and they've lost it. So here come the Legion. Nonu takes it on. First time we've really seen that today. He's been happy to just distribute to everyone else as Burton thinks he spots a hole. Attacks the line. Wu Ching. Nonu again. Little missed pass out to Stanfill. Nonu. Beautiful pass, draws in 2 defenders. It's going to be a simple 2-on-1. And it's Viramalua finishing off the brilliant work originally by Nonu, and then Audsley. Well, they're racing away with this game, Brian.
That, to me, that's all Ma'anonu, and it's because Staller has a look. He doesn't trust the one-on-one tackle, and he comes inside. He doesn't need to. There's already a man there in defense. Frees up Audsley, and then here comes Joseph Viramalua on the inside. And sometimes that star power is enough to freeze a defender. Staller sees Nonu, comes inside and gives Audsley the gap he needs.
Well, maybe Staller just wanted to be able to tell his friends that he tackled Ma'anonu, but that is not the time to do it, Brock.
Yeah, he did tackle Ma'anonu. The problem is he didn't have the ball when he did.
As you mentioned, that's what a class player. I understand Brock Staller's hesitation there. It was actually a forward that was inside as well. Didn't quite trust that he could leave him completely alone with Nonu. And extras are added, so it's 33 points to 10. San Diego over Seattle. And let's hear from Stacey Pates again on the sideline.
You might assume that San Diego has carried with it the mental weight and anguish of losing the final in 2019 to the Seattle Seawolves team on their own pitch in the last 40 seconds. Well, you'd be right, because they do hold on to it. But Rob Holdley told us that is part of their story, though. This is something that they take very seriously in terms of, yes, it's part of their story, part of their journey, but it's not something that defines them. And guys, we all know as athletes, adversity can also help be a part of your growth process. And that is very important also for the San Diego team. They knew they had to let go of that mental weight of losing the final and recognize we're a new club, new life breathed into them. So they let it go, but it's part of their story. And we all know that stories are what make us who we are.
Good stuff, Stacey. Yeah, talking to Hoadley, you know, a lot of teams would be compelled maybe to sweep it under the rug and say, let's move on. let's not focus on it anymore. But Hoadley brings it out and kind of shines it up a little bit and shows it to the team and says, hey, look at the loss. This is part of our narrative, and now we need to figure out how to fix it.
See Mike Shepherd for Seattle leaving the field as Scott Dean restarts after yet another Legion try. Audsley there to field the ball into Wu Ching, playing with a lot of confidence now as Augsburger shapes up for the box kick. Let's see how good this chase is. That is pinpoint as Hatting comes in, met heavily but taken well. And that may be a shoulder charge. No arms, yep, that's a penalty. Dangerous tackle.
Well, and he got away with one there too, Lou Stanfield. Sometimes that'll get you sent for 10 minutes. And Lou knows it. You can see his reaction. He's upset with himself. He doesn't like costing his team, especially because you've just gone up by 23 points. You've got all the momentum swinging your way. You don't want to let this team back in. Still 25 minutes left in this game, and if Seattle's proven anything, they're not going home without a fight.
Stoller has left the field. To replace him is Talavena.
You see Tolata'u there switched from the blindside flanker now to the hooker. Throws a strike in his first lineout.
Seattle with the driving maul now. It's at the back. Holding firm of the Legion. A little disjointed, flicks it out now. Coming in was Barton. George Barton, 22-year-old. Wild pass out to Turner. That's dangerous stuff. No advantage, it'll come back.
Yeah, and this penalty was on Peter Malcolm, and he finds himself on the wrong side of the ball, still trying to play the ball that Vili Tolata'u was holding in his hands. Referee warned him, and Malcolm just does not heed the warning.
Scott Dean steps up. Dare say that Seattle will attempt another drive.
Turner's lucky he didn't catch that ball because Tota Vasau was bearing down.
With Scotty Dean a little later on after the match, but for now it's Seattle's chance, and they're up to the 5-meter line. 4, 3, 2, try time! They're back, Seattle, as you said, Brian, 25 minutes to play. They needed that. Vili Tolata'u. $33 points to 15 in favor of San Diego.
Well, there's really the most iconic hairdo in the MLR is that massive afro on the head of Vili Tolata'u. And look at him just hard charging. A great player, came back from injury last year with a smile on his face. He really does everything with a smile on his face, and including scoring this try. But the anatomy of this try starts back in the ill discipline from Lou Stanfield, the shoulder charge, the penalty kick, and then Seattle does the rest with its forwards.
Scott Dean strikes it well, and he adds the extras. Seattle fans have come down from up north. They go wild. Let's have a look at that try again, Brian.
Yeah, this crowd in San Diego, this very field, they've seen the same thing. They know what it looks like, and they're a little hushed right now for a team that's been up by a couple tries.
We certainly are, and we're going to have another hydration break for the players. Don't go anywhere. Still plenty of rugby left in this match. 33-17. We'll be right back in just a moment.
Performance provides speed and agility training to your San Diego Legion. For all your personal training and fitness needs, visit NAKOAFit.com for free recipes, workouts, the latest fitness trends, and more.
Tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern, we have a college hoops battle in Beantown as Colgate takes on Boston University, only on CBS Sports Network. Manunu is making his presence felt here.
You know, that last carry he had too, I might have to apologize to the big man. He looked about as nimble as I've seen him. He's still got a great burst through a gap.
No doubt the message has made its way from the booth all the way down to him at halftime, Brian. That you thought he wasn't as quick as he used to be.
I can't outrun him, that's for sure.
So the Legion with the ball, looking to hit back after letting a try in from Seattle. Clever kick. And that's well taken there. Busby has been a little quiet in this second half.
Yeah, Psalm Wuching there called for tackling a man who's already on the ground. And I tell you what, this open side flanker for San Diego, the number 7, you know, he commits the indiscretion there by jumping on a man who's already down, and you got to give him a chance to get back up, and that's just unlucky because footwork there from the left wing is what ends up causing that penalty. But I think Psalm Wuching has been very handy today all around the field. He's been great in the line out. He's also been good off the side on defense, the former linebacker from the Washington Huskies, and he's added a lot of value here in San Diego.
Seawolves now bringing it out of the red zone. Proving dangerous. And with another penalty, the Legion have given the men in green a piggyback out of the danger zone.
You know, sometimes just the bounce of the ball and an awkward tackle down by the goal line there of Seattle, it results in a penalty, and now the rolling maul, then the kick, and suddenly Seattle's playing with the ball inside San Diego territory again. There's too much rugby left to count out these Seawolves. Still need a couple of tries and then a few extra points.
If they can post another score in this next phase of play, that will certainly make the Legion stand up and take notice. Coming back down the short side, Smith, Turner, escapes one, sends it out to Busby. Busby does well under pressure, but Teo on the spot calls the mark. And he'll look to send it way back. Looks to go for touch.
And again, just intelligent defense on the corner by Tota Vasau. And Turner does well to just feel the pressure coming from Aaron Mitchell and steps inside a loose Stanfield. And that kick because Busby knows he's about to be taken into touch by Save Tota Vasau. Not a whole lot of other options.
Tolutau gets it in over the back. Scott Dean puts his body on the line. A high tackle as well. Takes it straight to ground. Hatton has a look at the defense. But it will come back.
Yeah, maybe Hotting knows that the advantage is already being played. And that's the second penalty against Lou Stanfill. He needs to kind of watch the height of his tackles. Sometimes when you're an old man, it's hard to get down in a good tackling position.
So a succession of penalties has enabled Seattle to crawl their way up all the way to 5 meters from the Legion try line.
You can hear the referee say too many penalties, and this is sometimes where sometimes the next penalty yields a card, and you can see Lou Stanfill saying, "I didn't mean to grab him around the neck. That just happened to be the closest thing to my hand."
Run the line out, albeit messy. A little flick pass up to Tolutau, who's taken over the sideline. So a missed opportunity there from Seattle.
Good defense there, and look who's there to make amends is Lou Stanfill packaging Tolutau and bundling him into touch. Sylvia was.
That was brilliant play by Kellen Gordon off the ground just to flick it up to Tolutau. They nearly upset the Legion's line out, and looks like it may have been knocked on from Augsburger, so it'll be scrum time and a feed to Seattle. They're back in the mix, Brian.
Well, they'd sorted out their line out, both teams had, and they're now struggling with it. We saw the first throw there by Seattle gets bobbled and turned over, and now San Diego with a little bit of difficulty.
Big scrum here for the Seawolves. If they are to have any kind of chance of winning this game, you would have to say this is a crucial play. Just under 15 minutes left. They can certainly do it.
Replacement front rows for both teams now.
See on your screen right now, but 10, 12, and 13 very tight, and now Suniula spreads wide, trying to trick the defense. Harting off the back. Turner is waiting, the beast. Strong tackle on the big man. Harting takes it forward. Tackle! Inside the 5 meter line of the Legion. Physical play from both teams. Tolutau trying to pinch it there was Wu Ching. Just lacking a little spring in their step at the moment, Seattle. Under immense defensive pressure. Hitting it up one at a time on the outside now, using some space. Oh, straight through 3 defenders. What a try to that young man, George Barton. Easy as you like. He had no right to score that, Brian Hightower, but he's done it, and Seattle close in on the leaders.
Well, it goes from bad to worse for San Diego because Peter Malcolm just got sent from the field. He's going to get yellow carded. It's a chop tackle with no arms is the call, and then Barton, human bowling ball, goes over for the try. So difficult to stop. When I talked to Shalom Suniula, the vice captain for the Seattle Seawolves a couple days ago, it was George Barton who he mentioned as someone he's really excited to see get some quality minutes. Well, he talk about a quality minute. That was one there. And now it's going to be Seattle, who's crawled their way back into this game and now has got a man advantage for the next 10 minutes. You cannot arm tackle a base that's that wide. Barton makes him pay.
Still just a young man, George Barton, under 22 from Duncan, British Columbia. Played 16 times for Seattle last year. prominent figure for the Seawolves. 2 caps for his country of Canada as well. And this silence is reminiscent of the dying moments of the final last year.
Yeah, it's like the wind has gone out of the crowd collectively. I think they're maybe thinking about last June.
Box kick from JP Smith. Once again, very high, not particularly deep. Teo does well. Come back, and it's knocked on somewhere along the way by the Legion. So Seattle again come up with it right in front of their small cohort of supporters.
But San Diego really taking the pressure from Seattle, and they haven't been able to turn it into positive territory. Talked about the impact of these reserves, and we just saw Barton, who came in to replace the outside center. And now Malin Al-Jabori comes in for Tavita Tamalau at the number 8 position for San Diego. He's a good one too. Talk about being all over the field. He's a great ball carrier and an able defender. And this is the kind of moment where if you're Coach Rob Hoadley, you're looking for somebody to provide a spark. It's gotten a little bit flat out there for San Diego.
Leaving the field, much to his...
This is the most somber 9-point lead I've ever experienced at a home crowd. It's almost as though they just don't trust it.
Well, that is dangerous. To be ahead and to not be vocal and energetic, because the Seawolves are defending champions and capable of anything.
Let it go, Red!
So it is their passage of play now. And they have lifted. Pelzer coming around the corner. Straight back to Dean. Puts it on the foot, tries to thread the needle.
Yeah, that's a mistake by Dean. You got numbers on the outside, and then Mikey Teo is staying at home and ready for that kick, and Dean just kicks it right to him. You've just done all the work, and the scrum works for you, hatting off the back with a lot of positive meters for the Seawolves, and then to just give San Diego back the possession like that. We talked about the kicking game before, but this is kind of the kick to nowhere.
Yeah, it seemed to be slightly hurried as well. Dean in the pocket. Needed a few more moments to size up his options.
And maybe he saw something out there, and then it just wasn't what he thought.
Here come the Seawolves again. Dangerous with that driving maul. Big tackle, and Nonu pounces on the loose ball. As a result, Burton has to dive. Does extremely well to clean up, get to his feet, bring it back to his support. Seawolves pile in. Waldsberger back to Nonu. He puts it on the toe. Sends it straight down the throat of Busby. Doesn't have many options around, so takes it on himself. Scotty Dean deep again. Suniula. Plenty of kicking by the Seawolves, but Teo perfectly placed. And he takes another mark. We have Stacey Pates once again with Brad Tucker this time.
Mark, the time is ticking down, but one thing you cannot do is count out Seattle. Brad, give us a synopsis of what you're seeing out there right now.
I think obviously we started off with a hiss and a roar, and then
I guess, took our foot off the accelerator for about 50 minutes. So the boys got a bit of a rack up after we let in that second try this half, and we fought back. But, I mean, it looks like it might be too little too late, but fingers crossed we can keep going.
What do you think is missing? Where are you missing the mark as a team?
I just think the little things today. I think we've been strong in the pack. We've been good at the breakdown. Not bad on competing in the line-out and the scrums, but little things, time and possession in the first half, we probably had the ball for 5% of the time. You know, it's just tough to play rugby like that.
And it's tough when you think about those little things. There are things that can be corrected. How quickly can you turn those things around?
I think you have to look to next week. Got a good opportunity against one of the new teams. I guess their start's been similar to ours, so we've fought back into this and look to come out next week full guns blazing and nail those little things, get our own line out right. I think, you know, best line out in the league last year, and today it's been pitiful, so got a lot to turn around.
Well, it's round one. You've got plenty of time to make up the difference in terms of fixing those little things. We appreciate your taking the time to talk to us right now.
No problem. Thank you.
Brad Tucker there. Big number 4 for Seattle. Mentioned the line out there, Brian. Said it was pitiful today.
Yeah, and just as he was talking about the line out, the ball gets thrown and it's not straight and given straight back to the Legion.
So could that be the costly error that prevents an epic comeback by the Seawolves? Counter-rucking, doing extremely well was Tommy Vayner. So much so that he's rewarded with a penalty.
Yeah, and that was Luke Burton who came in. And Augsburger went on his own there, and maybe not the wisest move, and obviously hindsight's 20/20, but he goes weak side, and the blind side wing had already moved over behind the centers, and so...
Wow, I have to say, as you were speaking there, well, here's a replay.
Yeah, Augsburger going on his own, and Algebori gets there, but he's not accurate there over the ball. He overruns it, and that's why Burton has to stick his hands on the ground. You talk about a good clearance kick. My, oh my, Seattle, they are back in sniffing area.
I mean, the confidence of Scott Dean there to push the boundary and kick it all the way up to 5 meters. They've lost the line out again. That was a huge chance for Seattle. Scott Dean did his best, got them within 5, and now they've given a penalty away. This match slipping away from Seattle.
Well, even numbers there, and Tolata'u loses his mind briefly, and I think it's probably because he was the one who threw the ball in, and he's just frustrated here. And the clearance there, the problem is that it's just a straight elbow.
We mentioned his name a couple of times early on, Brian, with the lack of discipline. Somewhat of a loose cannon, a lot of energy, fantastic player. I wonder if the coaches will be chatting to him about all those penalties today, and this one ending up with a yellow card.
And for me, it's pure frustration. And this is one of the problems with, you know, Seattle's still smarting. They played against the Tasman Makos just a couple of weeks ago, and a bunch of young kids from New Zealand who came at them with everything they had. Few injuries, including the backup hooker for the Seawolves. And so it's Tolata'u who has to step in and be the hooker right now, and he's missed his throws today, and that is being sent off, just a product of the frustration of missing the mark.
Burton sends it high into the stratosphere. Turner's under it. Judges it perfectly under pressure as well. Some space down here, and here comes Barton, the try scorer, onto the foot of Busby once again. Duplessis had trouble cleaning that one up, but it's gone backwards. So they keep possession. Some more signs of life by Seattle. One would think that San Diego now just winding this clock down. Augsburger. Dean's under it, leaves it. Probably shouldn't have. Now he's having trouble, or no, the ball looks like it may have gone out, so it was well judged by Scotty Dean.
Just Just barely. Well, not even Dean believed it when it happened. He kept chasing it because he thought, oh, did I make a mistake? The assistant referee says, no, touch the line. Here comes Peter Malcolm back in, as well as Devin Short.
Oh, that takes incredible judgment by Scott Dean there. Do I, don't I, do I, don't I? And I'm sure that ball was moving around in the air as well.
Yeah, not only the judgment there, but to know that Save Todovasau is breathing down your neck. Well, the gamble pays off. 4 minutes left. Seattle has to score.
Another line-out loss, but fortunately...
On the arm, Reed. Reed on the arm.
Get a penalty.
Yeah. When a jumper goes up, you can see the touch there, and it's Stanfill who's dragging the arm of Duchel, who's going up for that ball. You got to give a player a chance to get clean ball from the line out. And sometimes you get away with it, sometimes you don't, and that time Stanfill doesn't.
We're going to have a scrum on the 40-meter line. There is just over 3 minutes to play.
It's an interesting option, too, because they could definitely got a lot of territory by kicking downfield, but they don't trust their own line out right now. In effect, there's nobody who can throw the ball in because Toleta'u is sitting on the bench right now. So they have to go to a scrum instead of being inside the San Diego 22-meter line.
Okay.
It's the consequence of ill discipline that you wouldn't expect those type of ripples. You got to have a front row to have a scrum, and so in comes Shepard once again to take out Nakai Penny, who's wearing the 7 jersey. And this is a safety issue. You have to have 3 qualified front rowers to pack down a scrum because of the weight of the packs and the pressure on the necks of this front rows.
Let's hope that Mike Shepard kept himself warm. It's always tough to re-enter the field after leaving it.
That's it. Hold, flankers.
Chilly day here in San Diego. Suniola puts boot the ball. Teo, stutter steps. Hutting over the top. Barton takes him low. Oh, loose pass, and here comes Turner. This game still not over. The dying minutes, but all it takes is one converted try, and then who knows? As we saw last year in the final. Plenty of red jerseys out. Clever little no-look pass from Suniola to Pelsa. Now they have some space and numbers. Suniola, Barton gets it out. Keeping his hands on the ball was Tamaivena. Clever play from him. Lenats. It'll be a penalty, and they'll go quickly. Smith out the back door. Tamaivena, so strong. The Seawolves, reminiscent of the final in 2019. But this time, one try won't be enough. Dean, missed pass. Hatting out the back. Tamaivena has been busy in this second half since coming on. 6 meters out. Now 4. Can Seattle score? And they will have time if they score in the next 30 seconds to score again and win this game. It would be a miracle. The Legion holding on, and they've managed to hold on and win the penalty. Wow, what about that, Brian?
Well, it's the story of the game today for Seattle. We talked about some of the opportunities in the first half they had inside the 5-meter line of San Diego, coming away with no points, and the mistakes. This game wasn't won or lost right here on the line. This game was lost in the set piece, especially the line out. You heard Bradley Tucker talk about it, that they just didn't hold up today in that area of the field. Credit to San Diego, though. You know, they really played an expansive game.
San Diego now will wind it down. Big credit to Seattle for their fight back.
Collapsing.
They had to come back from a large deficit. The Legion just taking the foot off the pedal for a stage of this second half, allowing Seattle to come back in, but it wasn't enough. And the Legion,
well, they can believe it now.
They did it after that heartbreak in the final here in Torero Stadium last year against this very team. They have bounced back to post their first win of the 2020 season. It's round one. And the Legion have taken it 33 points to 24 over the visitors, Seattle Seawolves. Don't go too far, folks. We have some post-match comments coming up.
No.
Next Sunday, we are back for more Major League Rugby as the Nola Gold battle Rugby Atlanta at 6 p.m. Eastern, only on CBS Sports Network. Right now, we have Stacey Pates with today's victorious captain, Nate Augsburger.
And Nate is a staple with the San Diego Legion, with them for year 3. And how have you seen your team change from year 1 to now?
I think we take a lot of pride in just making sure that we're always moving forward, always getting better. And I think we've packed up last season, put it behind us, and we put all our effort into making sure we're aiming towards the championship again this season and going home with the shield. So.
Sounds good to us. When you look at this game in particular, what goals did this particular win meet?
It met the goal of starting the season off with a win. It met the goal of coming out here. We got some new faces, but we have a lot of returning guys as well, so it really was our first real test. Even though we had a couple preseason games, this was the real test. So, and I think you're going to see that around the league as a lot of teams coming into the season figuring a lot of things out. So I was just glad we were able to come out, play a really quality side in Seattle, and still come out with the win.
Pleasure to talk with you, Nate. Thanks so much, and good luck the rest of the season.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Stacey, and thank you, Nate. Well, Brian Hightower, today's clash against these two top teams was everything we could have hoped for.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts and a long season. It starts out today, and great job by San Diego. Both of these teams, I expect to be fighting for a place in the finals at the end. A lot of rugby left to play in the MLR.
There certainly is a lot to play, but if this game is any indication of the season to come, we are in for a wonderful season. Ma Nonu, Seattle Seawolves. Great day today for Brian Hightower, Stacey Pates, and our entire team. I'm Mark Stabina. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.